Before I make my comments, I would like to respond to the gentleman from Pennsylvania's assertion of an anti-PAYGO spirit among Republicans. I voted for the PAYGO rule as well.
Excuse me, can I correct?
No,
Madam, I did not say that.
you accuse the Republicans of being against PAYGO. I voted for PAYGO, and I did so because of the same spirit I think you did, that it's an important principle to uphold that we pay for what we spend, and yet I did so with some reservations because it does not take into account some of the dynamic effects of tax reductions as they lead to increased revenue. So that's the point I wanted to make. The issue there raises the point as to how do we help stimulate small business capital investment, and one of the key ways was some of the tax reductions that took place that allowed for accelerated or higher levels of write-offs. We tend to point to the issues that we can most quantify most easily in terms of helping small business, whether that's access to capital or education. But I don't think we have as clear of an understanding that how tax policies, such as the one implemented a few years ago that significantly raised the accelerated write-off levels, can stimulate investment, which leads to productivity, which leads to jobs, which leads to revenues and help for families. So I'd like you to comment on that, as well as any other barriers to entry or expansion for small businesses, since it's such a critical component of our economy.
Well, I'm not a public finance economist, so again, I really can't tell you what's a good tax system or not. I'd rather have experts that do that for a living focus on exactly that issue.
Well, that doesn't help.
But I hope that one thing that you think...
Well, let me find some common ground with my friend from Pennsylvania saying on the one hand and on the other. But it would be helpful to unpack, you're an expert, you're in charge of our financial system, to unpack some of the either barriers to entry or barriers to expansion that we don't commonly talk about. I'll give you one that we commonly raise on this hearing, and it's health insurance. As health insurance tethers a person to what they're currently doing and increases the cost of risk-taking by venturing out into a new entrepreneurial venture. That's one. But again, tax policy, I think, is an absolute critical component as well that helps accelerate decisions that might be pushed off to the future to the current moment, and I think that was some of the dynamic effects that we saw regarding the particular tax reduction that allowed for accelerated write-off of capital purchases earlier in this decade.
If I was in charge of tax policy, I'd be very happy to give you my views on this. But what the Federal Reserve can do to help small businesses is to do our job under the mandate that's been given us by Congress. And if we do that well, small businesses, I think, will prosper. In general, the United States actually has one of the most, I think, I don't know the exact figures, but I think we have one of the most vibrant small business economies. This is actually something that is a very important feature of the way that things work in this country, and it's been an opportunity. It's an opportunity for people actually to actually grow rich by starting small businesses and actually working very hard. So this is extremely important. I think the kind of environment that we have to allow businesses to do their jobs well, it's very important to have a financial system that works well so that it can get access to credit, that somebody has a good idea, they can start small, they have a good idea, and they can start in their garage with a couple of computers and then become among the richest people in the world. This is what makes America great. However, that the Federal Reserve, in terms of these microeconomic policies, it's not what we actually are in charge of. And so on this basis, I really can't tell you exactly what the best way to solve these problems are. I think they are extremely important. And in fact, it's very important that you focus on exactly these issues.